not long ago, the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota was sitting right where you're sitting, Keith Ellison. And I had a question or two for him about the fraud in that state. And he said to me that, I mean, nobody could have found it. I mean, he didn't know anything about it. You know, he was completely in the dark until it was all blown open, and there's just nothing that would have tipped him off. I find that interesting because, near as I can tell, I mean, you were a 24-year-old independent journalist. You had a camera and a list of public spending records, right?
Correct.
So if this fraud was so hard to find, how did you manage to find it when none of the public officials in Minnesota could find it?
I simply went to the locations of the layering centers and the daycares and asked to enroll a child, and there was no way to enroll a child into any of these daycares. In fact, there were no children to be seen anywhere.
So in other words, you asked a few questions and you looked. You actually looked to see if there was fraud.
Yes.
And you found it wide open everywhere, rampant.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
And a lot of the Medicaid programs inside of Minnesota, from the non-emergent school vehicles to transportation companies.
You know, I find it so interesting because Keith Ellison, when he was Attorney General way back in 2018, 2019, I think we've got a poster to this effect, was actually told and had multiple referrals made to his office about fraud in some of the very programs that you looked at. I mean, this is years ago now. He had official referrals made to him. He said, I just couldn't find any evidence of the fraud. Do you think maybe there's a little bit of corruption at the governmental level in the state of Minnesota? I mean, is that just maybe a possibility? Maybe some of these guys are maybe on the take, you think? I mean, possible?
Yeah, it's not even maybe or possibly, it's a certainty.
Yeah, I would say so too, and I can prove it to you. Keith Ellison, that guy, after overlooking $250 million in fraud, he took $10,000 in campaign contributions from the very people who were committing the fraud, who came to see him in his office, asked him to please get state investigators off of their backs, which he did, asked him to shut down the investigations, which he helped with, offered to give him money, which he accepted. I mean, I think that's the answer as to why can't any of these people find the fraud? Because they're getting paid by the fraudsters. And here you are, 24 years old, got a camera, got the public records, ask a few questions, and it's everywhere to be seen. I mean, this kind of corruption, and it's what, sadly, the Democrat Party wants to bring to this country all across America. I don't know why guys like Ellison are not being prosecuted, I have to tell you. And he sat there and lied under oath right where you're sitting now. I asked him why he took this money. He said, I didn't take a dime. He took $10,000. It's on the record. I just want to commend you for what you've done.